Without further ado, I'm very honored to present our first speaker of today, Francoise Soria from New Acropolis School in Montreal. Francoise has been a philosopher for the past 30 years, and she has experience teaching and directing. She was a director at the School of New Acropolis in Toronto for over 20 years. And Francoise is going to speak to us today about Hypatia.
Thank you very much, Shira. Thank you for reminding my age. It's a great joy for me to be with all of you today, and a great joy for me to evoke and honor a remarkable woman philosopher, Hypatia. In fact, Hypatia has always inspired me since the very beginning in my adventure at New Acropolis many years ago, as Shira revealed. Hypatia has always been to me a light, inspiring me. And it's very surprising because few people know Hypatia today. And yet, we'll see that she played an important role in the history of humankind. I believe that her spirit still shines today. And she's like a beacon of Alexandria. I'll start speaking a little bit about her life and the historical background in which she lived, and then I'll focus on how great of a philosopher she was. She was a perfect example of what it is to be a philosopher, and then focusing on one idea. You can imagine that 15 minutes is not much, but I'll try to share with you the essence of this light, Hypatia. So to give you a few historical bearings, well, Hypatia was born in 365 AD in Alexandria, Egypt. And Alexandria was an extraordinary city born 600 years earlier out of the dream and vision of Alexander the Great. It was a Hellenistic city. And this vision was to create a crossroad in which cultures, civilizations, currents of thoughts, sciences, arts could meet, coexist, and learn from each other. Hypatia was the daughter of a great philosopher, mathematician, and astronomer called Theon. And I would like to share with you the words of a historian who lived at the time of Hypatia. He was a contemporary of Hypatia. His name was Socrates Scholastics. It was not the Socrates we know, like Plato's teacher. He's an historian. And he talked about Hypatia with those words. He said, there was a woman at Alexandria named Hypatia, daughter of the philosopher Theon, who made such attainments in literature and science as to far surpass all the philosophers of her time. Many came from a distance to receive her instructions, all men on account of her extraordinary dignity and virtue admired her more. Just a few words that Socrates said. And so, as he expressed so well, Hypatia became a remarkable neoplatonic philosopher, drawing teachings from masters such as Pythagoras, Plato, Aristotle, Plotinus. Her knowledge, and above all, her wisdom, made of Hypatia a very respected natural authority in Alexandria. Let's say a few words about wisdom. Now, wisdom is more than knowledge. Let's say that wisdom is the ability to embody virtues. And we can say, what are virtues? Virtues are qualities like inner qualities, spiritual inner powers that can be developed and awakened as part of evolution. And Hypatia's virtues, such as intelligence, courage, generosity, self-mastery, dignity, made her stand out, especially in times that were quite turbulent. Hypatia was a great teacher. She was known as a great speaker, teacher. She taught in public circles, but also to students, disciples, who followed her guidance for many years. And because of her wisdom and moral character, public figures, political figures in Alexandria would come and seek her counsel, as she would help them resolve conflicts. So she was quite a known, respected, important figure in the public life also of Alexandria. Let's say a few things about the times in which she lived. The times of Hypatia were turbulent ones, quite troubled. And in that, they're a reminder of our times today. We have lots of tensions and frictions. At the time, there was the emergence of a more dogmatic Christianity in the face of Neoplatonic values that were crumbling, the values of Alexandria. At the time, there were some important ceremonial, spiritual centers that were closed and even destroyed by the church. And Hypatia was a contemporary of that. At the time, so there was a conflict between secular and religious powers in Alexandria. We won't get into the detail of that, but this is a conflict between the bishop and the prefect of Alexandria, conflict that could have contributed and even led to Hypatia's brutal murder. Hypatia was brutally killed by a Christian mob in 415 AD. She was dragged from her carriage and as she was coming back home, and her body was torn with tiles or oyster shells, depending on versions, and she was dismembered and burnt. I thought that it would be nice to share a few seconds, it's a minute 30, of a video clip with a few images of a great movie that was done, Agora, although it's not completely faithful to the history of the story of Hypatia, but it sets very well the tone and it shows very well the ambiance in which Hypatia lived. And so I thought it would be nice to share those images with you. So let's take a minute. And thank you, Javier.
What if we dared to look at the world just as it is? The sack behaved as if the boat was stationary.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Why does the sun? Why does it change size from summer to winter? No, the heavens should be simple.
Why the joint effect of two circles? Wouldn't it be more perfect if single circle gave sense to everything?
Orestes, by what authority do you judge the work of God?
What is wrong with you Christians?
The Christians have gathered in the Agora. They are mocking the gods. We must put an end to these insults.
Are you going to attack them? Are you going to stain your hands with blood for an insult?
If two are equal to a third, they are all equal to each other. Do you know?
Are you both not similar to me? If you're going to imprison my brothers, then you're going to have to imprison me with them.
You are as Christian as we are.
More things unite us than divide us. I don't question that with me. I believe in philosophy. has not yet proved himself to be more just or more merciful than his predecessor. Now, whatever may be going on in the streets, we are brothers.
And so we said that Hypatia was a fabulous example of what it is to be a philosopher, and particularly in troubled times. A philosopher is philosophos, a lover of wisdom. How does this process unfold? At the heart of the love of wisdom, there's something that awakens in us. A knock on the door, maybe, a little flame there, something that makes us sense that there is more. There has to be more than the eyes can see. And then starts a quest. And then we engage into a quest, seeking to understand what is life, what is nature, what is the universe, what is truth. And this leads us to seek this truth, which is a mystery. And recognizing that we do not possess truth, we feel that we need to elevate our consciousness, awaken intelligence, discover, and understand that which is timeless, that is the laws of nature, the laws of life. And Hypatia was a fantastic example of this constant search for truth. And this search was done through all sciences and arts. Philosophy is not one field of knowledge in itself. It embraces all branches of knowledge. Mathematics, geometry, astronomy, rhetorics, literature, poetry. It is an integral process that never ends, a lifetime exploration and discovery. Hypatia was a true philosopher in that there was no separation between her knowledge and her way of living. And this is what makes a philosopher a true philosopher. A true philosopher seeks coherence, integrity between what he knows, what he learns, and what he lives, and what he or she experiences. Hypatia is an example then of a moral life based on practice of timeless values, which can be summarized with the expression of a moral character. This was the base of her natural authority and respect in Alexandria. Hypatia, because of this moral character, was an example of inner calmness, courage, virtues of the philosopher. And let's mention that this inner stability is not easy to achieve. It's the fruit of a long process, a transformational process at the heart of philosophy. The state of inner stability, despite uncertain and unstable external circumstances, in Greek, there is a name for that. It's called apatheia. Or it's not apathy, it's this inner calmness, inner stability, equanimity, this ability to remain composed in the face of difficulties. Hypatia was a great example of this, and this is an ideal aimed at by all practicing philosophers. Another trait of Hypatia and another characteristic of a true philosopher is her generosity. Like a spring of pure water, Hypatia never ever stopped sharing, transmitting her wisdom in order to empower others, in order to enable others to taste themselves this inner freedom and justice that comes from encountering the innermost essence of life and from living by those timeless values. Hypatia was loved and admired, but truly more loved than admired, loved by her students, disciples, with this very mysterious form of love called devotion in ancient philosophy. And we have many testimonials, writings, letters among those disciples that express this deep respect and love for their teacher. And a few things about her essential teachings. I would say there's one idea that I would like to share with you, which I believe is at the heart of Hypatia's teachings, at the heart of her life, at the heart of Neoplatonism. It's also shown in this little excerpt of the video I showed you. And one essential teaching that we could retain from Hypatia and Neoplatonism is this notion of eclecticism. We saw that Alexandria was born out of the vision of reconciling different philosophies, different civilizations, cultures, arts, sciences. This vision of reconciling and uniting all differences in this search for knowledge and true wisdom. We can say that it was this meeting between East and West through that which is common and essential. Plotinus and Neoplatonic philosophers taught us how we can purify the soul, elevate our consciousness, and see beauty with capital B. We can see the good, we can see the just, if we manage to find this higher state, this center inside of us. And all of us can strive and make it happen. By elevating our consciousness, we can look at the laws that govern the universe. And through that, we can find the harmony at the heart of the universe. We can see how everything is interconnected. We can hence discover unity, something essential, transcendent, which Plotinus and Neoplatonian or Platonic philosophers called the being. And that is a key message of Hypatia's life, focusing on what unites us all allows us to open spaces of dialogue, of active tolerance, of fraternity. Spaces where differences can be appreciated rather than excluded or rejected. And the very essence of eclecticism is this ability to find and extract the best of everything, encountering the essential unity beyond all the differences. To me, this is the essential message of the life of Hypatia. When she says in the little clip, we saw that whatever happens, we remain humans, brothers. What unites us is the most important. That's a true beacon of light and hope, in particularly in today's world. Hypatia shows us, and this will be my closing words, Hypatia shows us that women can embody powerful strengths, powerful weapons, which are love, wisdom, energy, life. And these are weapons of pacification. As part of this International Day and Month of Women, I'll finish with a wish. May women's soul generate peace around them. Let's all participate together, men and women, in a pacified humankind. Peace starts in a human soul, and that is, to me, the key message of Hypatia, her life, her teachings, and also it is the proposition that we have at New Acropolis. And hopefully you managed to, I succeeded in giving you a little taste of this fabulous philosopher that is Hypatia. So thank you so much for being here.